We've talked about many of the Manor games in IDV, but we haven't yet addressed a key question for those who are still confused. Why do the Manor games happen? What is their purpose? Are they meant to punish people, like in an Agatha Christie novel? Or is there another reason? I think the purpose of the Manor games is a bit unsettling, but not too hard to understand. To answer this, we need to look at the full identityv storyline, from the prologue to Ashes of Memory, as well as some essence stories and offline content. There are many theories out there, but I find the one by a Twitter user named AirieShark to be the most thorough. I'll use their explanation to explore what the Manor games are all about. This is your host, Silmina, and today, we'll dive into it. For those unfamiliar with the Manor games, the term refers to a mysterious and deadly game that's central to the backstories of various characters. These terms, often referred to as the Deadly Games, appeared in the main story, Geisha's backstory, and many others. These games are integral to the lore and provide context for the characters' connections to the Manor. But what exactly is this deadly game? Many assume it's the same as the in-game matches, where 4 survivors attempt to escape from a hunter. However, the actual Manor game is different. It involves characters following specific instructions from the mysterious owner of the elitist manor. These instructions vary widely. They might require characters to engage in dangerous tasks like deadly chases, or they could involve more passive activities like remaining silent and communicating through letters. The format is not always a hunt. In fact, some Manor games involve only hunters or only survivors. In my understanding, the term Manor games doesn't refer to the location of the games themselves. Instead, it's named that way because all participants have a connection to elitist manor. They are either invited or summoned there, or they are residents of the manor themselves. This connection ties them to the mysterious activities of the manor, leading to the name Manor Game. Elitist Manor, where people are invited to join the deadly games, has a dark history. It was once owned by Dennis DeRoss, a man passionate about art and mythology. He renovated the manor, filling it with paintings and other artistic touches. For this, he hired many people, including Burke, an architect, and Bain Perez, a forest watcher. Among them was also a forest ranger who brings his child, known as Orpheus, though this is just an alias. Dennis eventually had a daughter named Alice. She and Orpheus became close friends, to the point where Alice saw Orpheus as a brother. But their happiness was shattered during Alice's 6th birthday when a mob attacked the manor, looting everything and assaulting the DeRoss family. Alice was the sole survivor of the DeRoss family. It's suggested through character backstory and letters that Orpheus's parents were somehow involved, possibly for financial reasons. Burke's story hints that after Orpheus arrived at the manor, items began disappearing, implying that Orpheus's parents may have used him to steal from Dennis DeRoss. After the attack, Alice and Orpheus were left orphaned. Orpheus was abandoned, likely being abandoned by his parents who got involved in the attack, while Alice lost her parents in the incident. Alice went mentally unstable after the incident, and was sent to Miles' orphanage, where she may have met Ada Mesmer and received treatment. Orpheus ended up in a different orphanage and eventually became a novelist. When Alice turned 13, Orpheus tried to adopt her, but the orphanage denied his request. A year later, a researcher named Wilhelm Lamb took Alice to Melbourne as an experimental subject, where she was renamed Yuri Lamb. Under Evelyn's guidance, Alice underwent training in experimentation before escaping back to England 7 years later. After his failed attempt to adopt Alice, Orpheus focused on his writing. Around this time, a strange plant started growing at Aletis Manor. Its ferns could be used to create drugs with various effects, such as amnesia and hallucinations. Eventually, a new owner took control of the manor. A mysterious figure implied to be the darker side of Orpheus, known as Nightmare. He began experimenting with the plant. While his exact goals are unclear, a popular theory suggests that Orpheus wanted to erase Alice's painful memories, making her believe that it was Orpheus's parents who died, not hers. This theory implies that he aimed to rewrite Alice's past, making Orpheus appear as the true child of the Duras family. This idea is reflected in the differing perspectives between time of reunion and ashes of memory. But again, it remains speculative. To test these memory-altering drugs, Orpheus needed test subjects. With the help of Burke and Bain Perez, both of whom felt guilty for the tragedy to happen, he began sending invitations to people to come to the manor. These invitees unknowingly became test subjects for the drugs, participating in what became known as the Manor Games. The drugs had various effects. Some induced memory loss, others altered memories, some caused comas, and others triggered intense hallucinations. Each manor game tested these drugs under different conditions, with Orpheus observing the results, all for the sake of altering Alice's memories. And thus, we have Game 0, Game 1, Game 2, and so on, until in the end, Alice went back to the manor, and all the story ended up with Orpheus, under the effect of the drugs himself, blew up the forest of no return and the manor itself, leaving him survives with no memories of what happened. To identify the participants of each game, you can refer to their 3-digit serial numbers. These numbers aren't random. They reveal a lot about the character's role in the manor games. The first digit represents the specific game the character is part of. The second digit indicates their reaction to the drugs, and the third digit is their participant number. A second digit of 0 means the character was drugged but didn't react, while a 1 means they showed a reaction. If the second digit is a question mark, it likely means the character wasn't drugged. Take Ada Mesmer, for example, with her serial number 001. This means she was part of Game 0, was drugged but showed no reaction, and is participant number 1. With this pattern, we can piece together the sequence of manor games. However, if you're a lore expert, you'd know by now that the whole manor game is a complicated mess. There's Game 3A, 3B, 3C, 6A, and some games with unconfirmed participants. All these games eventually lead to the events in Da Capo, where Orpheus blows up the manor, survives, and ends up with amnesia. What happens to Alice after that is a mystery. She might be missing, dead, or went into hiding. If you have any theories, I'd love to hear them since I'm not a full-on lore expert. This is your broadcaster, Selmina, signing off. See you next time.